on. My most memorable times, I think that I'll always cherish, are those little meet rendezvous we had on the Washington State ferries. And I think I mentioned to you once before, Trent, that my father had a saying that he always loved good people. And I kind of knew what he meant, but when I met the two of you, and especially when I met Ilene, I thought these are good people. And there was something there with Ilene. I think it's just love. I think that's what it was, and compassion. That you could talk to Ilene, and you really felt like she was absorbing everything you said, and you felt like you just connected. And it's not often in life that you meet someone, and even though you hadn't known them long, feel like you really know them. And that was very, very special, and I'll always hold her in my heart. So anyway, that's it.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
I might add that Ilene was kind of the go-to instructor in her family on stick shifts. So some of her nieces and nephews thank her for teaching her on her Audi Fox. She had a stick shift in that car. Would anyone else like to say anything? Couple comments on those. The Fukuda apple pies were famous. It was Mrs. Fukuda's recipe. And the Fukuda women could bang these things out in huge numbers. When we were with Ilene's parents in Seward Park, we had like a separate unit downstairs with a separate kitchen, and Mrs. Fukuda had 2 ovens upstairs. So we had 3 ovens in the house, and the Fukuda women would gather, usually annually, and they worked out this production line. And correct me if I'm wrong, Judy, but I think the record was 93 pies in one day. Does that sound right? Yeah. So I mean, it was probably like a 14-hour day. Everybody was involved except for me. I wasn't too good around the kitchen, but I still have 2 of those pies in my freezer. I don't know what the length is for a viable apple pie in a freezer, but I'm going to eat them someday, and I'm going to really enjoy them. Well, that's a thought. Yeah, we could auction them off. Would anyone else like to say anything before we move to the brief views of life and death? Okay, and you can always say something afterwards too. We're not really formal here. The first person I'm going to quote is Saint Teresa of Avila. She was 16th century Carmelite Roman Catholic nun. She was a subversive, she was a rebel, and she was a reformer and a mystic. And I quote her words. This magnificent refuge is inside you. Enter. Shatter the darkness that surrounds the doorway. Be bold, be humble. Put away that incense and forget the incantations they taught you. Ask no permission from the authorities. Close your eyes and follow your breath to the still place that leads to the invisible path that leads you home. End of quote. The next view is from Tecumseh, 18th century Shawnee warrior, natural leader. He was perceived as a subversive and a threat to the power structure. He created a confederation called the Wabash. That earned him a place on the president's kill list. Lacking drones back in those days, they had to send the U.S. Army on a, quote, preemptive strike. And they managed to kill him in 1813. This is what Tecumseh had to say. Live your life that the fear of death can never enter your heart. Respect others in their views and suggest they respect yours. Trouble no one about his religion. Love your life, perfect your life, beautify all things in your life. Seek to make your life long and to be of service to your people. Prepare a noble death song for the day that you go over the great divide. Always give a word or a sign or a salute when meeting or passing a friend, or even a stranger if in a lonely place. Show respect to all people, but grovel to none. When you rise in the morning, give thanks for the light, for your life, for your strength. Give thanks for your food and for the joy of living. If you see no reason to give thanks, the fault lies in yourself. Touch not the poisonous firewater that makes the wise ones turn into fools and robs the spirit of its vision. When your time comes to die, be not like those whose hearts are filled with death, so that when their time comes, they will weep and pray for a little more time in which to live their lives over again in a different way. Sing your death song and die like a hero going home. The last is from 14th century Rinzai Zen master Basui Tokoshu. Rinzai is marked by its emphasis on a thing called kinjo, and as the vehicle to the gateway to the infinite. Kincho is a Japanese word which means, roughly translated, seeing one's own nature. Basui once responded to a sick disciple in this way, quote, "You ask me to write you how to practice Zen on your sick bed. Who is it he that is sick? Who is he that is practicing Zen? Do you know who you are? One's whole being is Buddha nature. One's whole being is the great way. The substance of this way is inherently immaculate, and it transcends all forms." He was trying to nudge his disciple into taking a greater sense of the self, the capital S self. Elsewhere, he wrote the following advice to a dying man. Quote, "Your mind essence is not subject to birth or death. It is neither being nor nothingness, nor is it something that feels pain or joy. However much you try to know with your rational mind that which is now sick, you cannot. Yet, if you wish for nothing and only ask yourself, what is the true substance of this mind of this one who is now suffering? You will eventually be freed from your painful bondage to endless change." Let's close with some moments of silence. Thank you. There will be a reception right over there. There will be refreshments and pastries from Larson's Bakery in Ballard. Excellent place. And we'd love to have you. So thank you for coming.